So what's going to happen in the 2026 housing market in Nashville, Tennessee? I'm an expert only because I've lived here for my entire life and I've done real estate for 36 years, but I can look at what's happened in the past and what is forecasted for the future based on what I see happening here, and I think I have a good idea of what's going to happen in the housing market. So if that's of interest to you, then you need to stick around today. We're going to talk about some of the growing pains that Nashville is going through. That is a true fact, and you know me, I'm always going to give you the facts. But we're also going to talk about some of the big business developments that is fueling the growth. We're going to talk about the redevelopment of the whole East Bank area over by the river. We're going to talk about some of the things that we're bringing in that Nashville might have been missing. Some of that's that walkable neighborhoods that many of you are looking for when you come here. We don't have that many. We're about to. We're also going to talk about the median home prices, both over the year as the growth, but I'm going to give you the nitty-gritty granular details about according to some zip codes and some counties. These are things you need to know when you're thinking about moving to this area. You've probably heard of just a few major areas, but there are lots more to know about and to see, to delve into. And I'm also going to talk to you about some of the growing pains. We have them. Every city growing is having them, and that's just part of it. But you know I'm going to tell you the truth. So if these are of interest to you, then stick around. Okay, so here's maybe what you're here for. The economy seems like it's going to be great. We still have a lot of businesses come in, a lot of redevelopment, which is also bringing in business. If you're construction or if you have a high level of construction abilities, please. But these are all talking about downtown areas. Let's talk about the housing market of the Middle Tennessee area. As you know, I talk about this all the time too. And by the way, if you're new to me, I am Susan Thetford. I'm a relocation specialist, realtor of the last 35 years here in Nashville, native Nashvilleian, and a retired general contractor. I still don't call myself an expert because I have so much more to learn every single day, but I do know a thing or two. I've watched us grow. I see our problems. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's talk about the housing market of what we've seen throughout 2025. And then I'm also going to go to my computer in a second and I'm going to show you some specific numbers because, again, you need to get granular when you're talking about areas and median prices. But until then, just a sec. Zillow puts the average home value in Nashville at about $443,000, which they say is down about 1% year over year as of July 31st, 2025. Now, that very same snapshot done by Redfin shows the median sales price about $459,000 with the median list price at $499,000. Redfin has our median price at $478,000, and that's up 1% over a year. So what we've got basically is high to mid 400s as a median price point if you put these two together because they each have a little bit different numbers, and our values about 1.5% appreciation. This is over the entire Nashville SMSA. I'm going to show you in a minute that does not hold water in all of the areas. I'm going to get down specifically and more granular so that you see what's happened in Williamson County, what's happened in Wilson County. We'll look at that in just a second. So let's break down what Zillow and Redfin show as our median prices and a little bit generalized median breakdown of homes in the Nashville SMSA. Entry-level homes right at $400,000, 56 days on the market. That is less than a 2-month supply of homes on the market, so that means we are still in a seller's market. It has softened though. That's a good thing for buyers. Sweet spot of homes is the mid-range, more 575 up to about 800,000. That's still 56 days on the market. In general, I'm going to show you some differences. And then when you get to the upper mid segment, 800,000 or above, those are a little slower at 70 days on the market. Still, that puts it barely over 2 months. A 6-month supply is considered a balanced market. Now, I don't know about you, but I watch everybody on YouTube and I'm trying to learn from different people. There is a guy who does a lot of research. He's great, but this is where the generalities is going to trip you up. Nick has been claiming Nashville housing crash and that it has crashed for easily the last 18 months to maybe 2 years. I'm going to prove to you in just a moment One, that's not happened. According to Redfin and Zillow, it hasn't happened. But according to what I'm going to show you in just a moment, it hasn't happened. And I've got the figures and the stats to prove it. So generalities from somebody who's just running around the country, who doesn't even own a home yet, by the way, Chicken Little saying that the housing market is going to crash has caused a lot of people to lose out on maybe 20 to 30% appreciation in the last 4 years. So looking at the market trends, despite softer Southeast markets, Nashville remains steady this summer. There are no dramatic crashes, but a more slow cool down or warm up, whichever way you want to put it. That's actually a good thing for the market. Now there's some tightening in areas, absolutely, certainly, but we've just gotten it even out, a softening of the market, a little bit more time that people are taking to make decisions, and I'm seeing that especially in my work. People are taking a little longer to make decisions to move to Nashville, or maybe they're taking longer to sell their homes to be able to get to Nashville. And still, although there's a little bit more inventory, there's not a lot of inventory where people are reasonable on their prices, reasonable on their updates, and just how good that house looks. There are sellers, and then there are people who really need to sell or want to sell, and those can be 3 different prices. Okay, so let's go to the computer and let me show you some things that is going to help give you better specifics. Many of you have been talking to me already, and you know there are lots of different counties in the area. We've been talking about where you can find different home styles that you want, the layout of homes, acreage, all the things that you've been talking about. I'm going to show you county by county some of the areas that we've been talking about in particular to see what they have done in the month of July just passed. I have the final numbers for you there. I'm also going to give you an idea of a place that you should go to always be able to keep watching that. Stay tuned. Let's go look. So I want to encourage you, please, if you are on Facebook, go to my Facebook page, and I'll tell you a lot of reasons why. But I hope you'll friend me over here on Facebook, because each week I do a lot of things that show the stats, I show you information, but I also do things like, say, if you were here looking for fun activities this weekend, every Friday, I put fun things for you to do on the weekend. So I'll give you an idea of this weekend. If you were here, you would be seeing Blippi Week at the Science Center. You would also be able to go to the Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live Glow on Fire, which was last night. And I've got video from my grandchildren who were there. They had a monster blast. Also, we have the Music City Grand Prix going on this weekend. So if you were here, and then we had a slumber party at the zoo. That too was really, really fun a couple times a year. So if you were here on my Facebook business page, every Friday you get some weekend updates of things to do this coming weekend if you happen to be here. You also see things you're missing out on. But what I wanted to show you is some of the old posts. I promised you, here are the real stats from exactly what happened from our MLS. Okay, so let's take a look at exactly what happened in July in the greater Nashville area. Days on the market was 50 days for all homes that closed in July. They had been on the market for 50 days to finally get to closing. That's the entire Nashville SMSA. Number of sales that closed was 3,300. That's up 3% from July 2024. Now you're going to see in a second something to compare that to, but the number of closed sales was up from a year ago. The amount of inventory is up quite a bit. So that's great for buyers who are looking for homes. They've got more to choose from. Prices went up a little bit. The time on the market went up a little bit. Lots more inventory to choose from. Sales price, right at $525,000. That was the median sales price. Now, that was up 5% over a year ago. So more inventory, prices still rising, more choices. Condominiums were down 2%, median condo prices. So there's a little bit more movement for those who are looking for condominiums. That got you into our weekend of schedules of things that were happening. But now let me show you something else that I think will be very interesting to you. Again, if you were on my Facebook page, you would know some new things about that's a waterfront over at the Blue Moon Cafe that has recently opened up. It's a great spot. Talking about the Nashville economy, Visitors spend over $30 million daily here in Nashville area, spending $11 billion annually, 16 million overnight visitors, state and local tax revenue, over $1 billion from our hospitality industry. So thank you those who come to visit. Here's the Nashville market update for July. The median price of homes in Williamson County. Williamson County is where you know Brentwood, Franklin, Thompson Station, Nolensville, Arrington, Chapel Hill, a lot of different areas, but by zip code. So you're going to see the median price of homes in Williamson County by zip code. 37064 is the downtown Franklin area. 207 is Brentwood. So I don't want to keep on going down there, but the east and west side of the county is far less expensive than the north and middle part of the counties. Each month I give you this information. You also get it for every single county I showed you. But some good information that I have, I think. Things to do, here's another one. Let's look at Davidson County for July. Median sales price in Davidson County in different areas. This is Oak Hill. 37205 is Belmead, parts of over by Percy Warner Park. 15 is Green Hills down by Percy Warner Park. So by zip code, definitely Williamson and Davidson County are the two more expensive ones. But I do every single month updates like this of each of the 4 counties. So if you are not a friend of mine on Facebook, then you are moving out on some really great info. I look forward to seeing you there. Okay, so number one, when we're talking about the economy and what to expect in 2026, you have to see what's fueling that economy. And the big employment and the employers and the development that's coming to Nashville for a specific reason is a big part of that reason that there is a very rosy outlook for 2026. Let's talk about the business side of things first. Vanderbilt University Medical Center is our number one employer with about 40,000 employees across the Middle Tennessee area. They have over 3 million patient visits annually. Others on the top employer list are the state of Tennessee itself, 26,000, the federal government with 13,500, HCA Healthcare, 10.6 thousand, Metro Schools, 10.3 thousand, Vanderbilt University, not the medical center but the university, 8.6 thousand, Metro Government, 8.7 thousand, Ascension St. Thomas, 8.3 thousand, Kroger, 7.8, Amazon, 5,000, Asurion and Bridgestone are also big employees in the mix. There are also several major corporation assets that are here in this area as well. You've got Nissan North America, Bridgestone Americas. Asurion still employ thousands of people locally. We also have several Fortune 500 companies here. The first one that comes to my mind is where my brother used to be. Brookdale Development Centers. Those are retirement centers and management company. I'll tell you about one more that is a globally known corporation. You know it well, but I'm going to hold that one for a second. So something that's really exciting is about the East Bank development. And this is a ginormous, a 550-acre redevelopment project right down at the river, very close to downtown Nashville, near where the Titan Stadium is being rebuilt. And this is going to be huge walkability, neighborhoods, corporations. Let's talk about it. The East Bank development is unfolding across 550 total acres adjacent to the Cumberland River. It's going to go from river north and trend all the way south past I-24. It is a major redevelopment zone that will take about 10 to 12 years to complete. It will have walkable corridors like the Music City Mile and the Cumberland Walk, designed to knit neighborhoods together, bringing some of that planning to have walkable communities that is sorely lacking in Nashville up until now. That's in the planning. So if you are looking for that type of atmosphere, get here, go ahead and get here, because by the time that is developed, it may be time to move. That may still be something that you want, but you've already got your foot in the door in owning some Nashville area real estate. The East Bank plan won an Urban Design Merit Award, reimagining 338 acres into 4 mixed-use neighborhoods with resilience and multimodal transit in mind. So as you know, we've talked about this several times, Nashville is not a city that has a good transit system. We don't have any overhead, we don't have any underground, although there's one thing, Elon Musk is making his mark here, and that's something we can talk about at another time, because I don't see that as one of the giant things that's going to keep driving growth for 2026, but it is a piece of this. But what this is going to do is bring us 338 acres of more homes, more commercial, more residential, more restaurants, all the things to create more walkable neighborhoods right down at that riverfront area. It's giving us the first affordable mixed-use project downtown in the East Bank Flats. This is going to be a 6-story, 100% affordable housing project near the future Titan Stadium. Okay, so this piece is hot off the presses. Just in the last 2 weeks, the largest purchase or largest sale of any property in Middle Tennessee just occurred. $245 million to buy the scrapyard that has been there since way before I've been around. And you know, that's it right on the riverfront, right overlooking the Titan Stadium. Now, that was not an area that people lived. It didn't really matter. That's where that scrapyard has been. Well, now it's a prime piece of property. A lot of investors from the city have bought it, and it's one of the prime pieces of development property. They've got a lot of things to do to get it before they can have it shovel ready because of soils, rejuvenation, and all the kind of things that you've got to do to get a piece of property right. But that's going to be a beautiful place, another area to revitalize that riverfront in the downtown area. Then, of course, you've heard it before, maybe you've forgotten about it, Oracle's riverfront property. River North project is actually what they call it. Rezoning is underway and the scope has grown. This is where Oracle plans to relocate its world headquarters, bringing in billions of dollars and creating over 8,500 jobs over a decade. Oracle bringing that many jobs, that much recognition, and think of all the other ancillary things that go along with a giant headquarters. It's big. These are good things going on here. What does this mean for 2026? Far more housing is coming online from some of these future projects, which means a good thing, more competition for the existing homes, more competition for existing condos, which is more likely what you'll find down there. More competition should even out some of the prices because it's pretty hefty, but it's also bringing so much revitalization to the area. Job growth will be fueled in pretty much every area you can think of. Healthcare, technology, management, communications, entrepreneurship. Don't forget that. Nashville is known really well for our entrepreneurship and growth. We're a great state for that because of the tax base. Job growth, healthcare, tech, education, logistics, and public service. Potentially, this could bring us a more balanced market with more inventory, could bring us some more leveling off of pricing. That's a hope, not a promise. It is a hope. So why is all this growth happening? It's because of all the national accolades. When I was growing up until the 80s, we were a middle town. Wonderful area, but people just kind of didn't think about Nashville. Because of our proximity to everywhere in the country, 75% of the country in less than 7 hours from our airport, because of our wide spread of so many different businesses that are huge here. It's not just one economy. It's not just hospitality. It's not just manufacturing. It's not just any one thing. It's banking, hospitality, manufacturing. Across the board, we're a great place for economic growth. But seeing that, what we have is a lot of accolades. We were just named tied the most beloved major city, leading in net favorability among the 50 largest cities per that YouGov survey that I mentioned a couple weeks ago. We also just recently tied with Tampa as the #1 most desirable city to move to for 2025. And as an investor tip, Nashville was listed among the top 5 housing markets to watch in 2025. We're coming into 2026 We have been a very stable market in 2025. It's a market to watch. We are considered as long as the likes of Dallas, Houston, and Tampa for housing markets to watch in 2025, and I think that will continue. Are you about had enough stats? I get it. Stats can make your mind go crazy, but here's what I encourage you to do. If you're thinking about Nashville, download my relocation guide. It's about 50 pages of all the information that you could possibly need to have a good overview. And then we should talk. But we've got some of the best suburbs of around Nashville, some demographic information, best neighborhoods in the Davidson County area, suburbs that people have all know about and talk about, nearby parks, attractions, things to do when you're here, different community events, local hotspots, all the things that you might want to know about. One, when you're thinking about where to live, and two, when you're coming to visit, you're going to want to stay abreast of this. Okay, I promised you the real talk about what's happening. We've got some growing pains here in Nashville. As you know, I grew up here in the Nashville area. I'm a child of the 60s, I'll just put it that way. And I've seen some amazing growth. I've seen some also crazy growth, and crazy, number one complaint, traffic, definitely. Number one complaint is traffic. We are a city where you need a car in general. Now, once the East Bank developments happen, that's going to help a lot. Right now, Germantown, Sylvan Park, some parts of East Nashville are the best as far as walking, but we're going to have some competition for that. You need your cars. We've had such an influx. Now, one of the things, I-65, I-24, I-40, are three interstates that all come here to Nashville. That has been a big reason for our growth because we are so accessible to everywhere in the country, but it's also a reason for, traffic. I mean, it all comes in. Now, 840 has really helped loop the traffic around down more the south side, gets you from I-24 all the way down, loops down to 65 and back around to I-40. So you can skip going all the way downtown, but still, those who work downtown have to do that, and we don't have much ride share. We're working on it. Traffic, I won't sugarcoat it, can be terrible at certain times, which is why you always hear me say, put into Waze where you're going, even if you know exactly where you're going, because it's going to give you the best way, the best route based upon the current traffic patterns. Doesn't mean you don't know it, just means you want to know how to get there the fastest. Our rapid growth has certainly put a strain on not only roads, but schools. We are building schools quickly, but it has caused some growing pains on our schools. I know you're going to check out greatschools.org, or I hope you do, niche.com. Check out the school ratings. As a realtor, I can't really talk about that much, but that has been, I think, one of the reasons that some of the outer counties have grown appreciably is because some of them have better school system ratings on those websites than the Davidson County school system. End of statement. Now, we do have a lot of really good private schools, but that adds a lot of money to your expenses. So all these things need to take in consideration when you're thinking about where to live, what county to live. So some of the folks on Reddit said it best. If you're looking for a slower moving city that doesn't change too quickly, Nashville ain't it. I'll agree with them. We are changing quickly. Some of the older neighborhoods definitely have changed quickly. The ones that were close in, like Green Hills, Westmead, Forest Hills, some of these that were very easy commutes into town that weren't new construction. They were older homes, larger lots. People are coming back into, they want the lots, they want the easy location, and they're tearing down a lot of those and putting up new structures. Very expensive. So, the horizon has changed quite a bit in the last 20 years for sure. Someone else said, constantly rebuilding my social circle. Nashvillians just move on after a while. And when they mean move on, they mean move on to another area of the city. I've just worked with 3 different sets of couples who originally came and settled in one area, doesn't matter where, and their friends, because of commutes, maybe because of changes of jobs, maybe for different reasons, friends have moved to a totally different area, maybe 20, 25 minutes away. And of course, it's harder to get to people when you don't have that proximity, or maybe your kids aren't in school together, or you no longer play pickleball every week. So you will find that a lot. People moving around in the city, maybe to another county or different outskirts. And you do find that. I rarely find that people are leaving. unless they happen to be the locals. Many locals are leaving, not the state, not even the area, but just trying to go to some of the smaller cities that used to be small little cities like Columbia, Spring Hill, over to Arrington. They're moving out to get to Nashville, but they want to go a little less busy, less urban than Nashville in some areas has become. This is going to be long, but this is also very important, I think, for that 2026 outlook, because you need to understand what's making us grow, and I don't see anything that's putting the brakes on it. And the fourth, I'll say, is some of the planning and funding for some of the things they really wanted to grow and to excel in even more, like TPAC, Tennessee Performing Arts Center. There was going to be a new one. We've outgrown that space, and that's a wonderful place to visit. Great theater, but they're planning on doing another. Well, the funds just aren't there yet, and I like that. The fact is, if you don't have the money, don't spend it. But some of those things that we really wanted to increase in services just are having to be put on hold for a bit, while some of the other growth factors are taking advantage of. And especially when we're talking about infrastructure. That's one big thing we need. We need to increase our roads. We need to figure out a rapid transit system. Those are things that we're working on, planning is working on, but those are some real growing pains. So what can all of this mean for buyers in 2026? When some of these new developments happen, there will be a lot more choices in the urban core, but there is a lot of growth of new construction in the outer counties. We're seeing a lot of, some of the major builders from around the country are coming here and building a lot of new developments in outer counties, Wilson County, Sumner County, Murray County. It's spelled M-A-U-R-Y, but we pronounce it Murray. So Murray County, which is where Columbia is. A lot of the outlying counties are getting a lot of new construction, which means housing prices should be good and competitive. Those outer areas may also be better values for you. So let's not overlook Gallatin. Let's not overlook Columbia. Some of the places when we're talking about your needs and the lifestyle that you want when you move to Nashville. Also, the entry-level condos and townhomes like the East Bank Flats may open doors for lots of first-time buyers. And as we saw before, the condo market really has flattened out. That's a good thing. That's a good thing for those first-time buyers. Which reminds me, 30 minutes. If you want to talk about your needs, your lifestyle, and your desires in a new community, one-on-one, then grab that 30-minute phone call with me. Calendar link was right here. So what does our market in Nashville look like for sellers in 2026? I think sellers are still going to have the advantage in most areas of town, especially with well-priced, well-staged, well-taken care of homes near the booming districts like the East Bank and hotspots, Belmead, Germantown, Westmead, Hillwood, many cities in Williamson County, Mount Juliet. There are lots of places that will remain to be hotspots for their own general purposes. But pricing, presentation, and the strategy to sell for top dollar in the shortest amount of time possible is going to matter now more than offers, because they aren't just flying off the books immediately. They weren't in 2025, and I think we'll see more of that in 2026. Probably 2 to 3 months worth of time on the market before selling. So what is my 2026 forecast for Nashville for investors? You're going to have a harder time finding investor properties, because I know what your buy box is. And our prices are not such that you can come in and buy something 20-25% below market. So if that's your market, I think you're still going to have some trouble. However, the rental demand remains very strong with rising population and that job growth. The steady appreciation is still expected. Just don't expect 12 to 15% annually appreciation. Not going to happen. The East Bank, the Oracle campus, and healthcare corridor, those are always likely to be appreciating first and fastest as far as investors go. So what's a recap of the Nashville market for 2026? All systems are go. I don't see a reason to have it change. What I do fear a little bit is if our interest rates continually drop, and they've been very steady, which I think is what's held our market steady. People are taking a little longer. But I'm a little afraid if the rates do drop 0.75% or below 6%, I'm afraid we may have what we had during the COVID markets, which was a rush of people to bid up those prices. So I may be one of the few realtors who is not hoping for a big drop in interest rates, but I hope we can open up this logjam a little bit. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, or considering that, whether it's 3 months or 6 months from now, let's have a talk. Let's come up with a game plan, or let me help tell you, this isn't for you based on what you're telling me you want, but let's talk out your needs and desires in a new community, and let me see if I can't help you out, like I've helped hundreds of other families in the last couple of years. I'm Susan Thetford, your realtor here in Nashville. Look forward to seeing you next week.